Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a really powerful teaching on spiritual protection, specifically how to guard against what's described as the single greatest trial humanity will ever face. Okay, so this statement right here, it really sets the stage for everything we're about to discuss. It establishes the incredible seriousness of our topic, the trial of the Dajjal, a figure you might know from other traditions as the Antichrist. And let's be clear, we're not talking about just any old challenge here. According to these teachings, this is the single most severe test for humankind, from the very dawn of our existence all the way to the end. So you might be wondering, just how big of a deal is this warning? I mean, is it something new? Well, no. In fact, there are three crucial truths about it that have been passed down through the ages by every single prophet. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating, especially that second point. Think about it. If it was known that the Dajjal was only going to show up at the very end of time, why on earth did every single prophet warn their people about him? Well, the insight here is that the tools you need to face this ultimate trial, they're the exact same tools that strengthen us against the little deceptions and challenges of everyday life. It's like a universal training program for the soul. Which, of course, brings us to the big question, right? The one we should all be asking. If we're facing what's described as the greatest deception in history, how do we protect ourselves? Where do we find our shield? And boom, here's the answer. It's so direct. The protection we're told about isn't some physical weapon or a complex ritual. It's a spiritual one, embedded right inside a specific chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf. You know, the name of this chapter, or surah, it gives us a huge clue about what it does. It's not just a random name. So let's break down what Al-Kahf actually means. Right, so the whole idea here is that this chapter is meant to be, well, a spiritual fortress. It's like a sanctuary for your heart and your mind, a safe place to shield them from the chaos of doubt and deception. But how does that even work? I mean, how can a chapter in a book build a fortress inside of you? Well, it does it by teaching us through 5 core stories. And each one of these stories is like a blueprint for how to overcome a fundamental human trial. And these stories are like our spiritual boot camp. You've got the story of the young men in the cave that teaches us how to protect our belief when everyone around you is against it. Then there's a parable about 2 gardens, a huge warning about the trial of wealth. The journey of Moses, wow, that one really challenges our pride and knowledge and forces us to grapple with destiny and the unseen. And finally, you have this story of a great king who shows us the right way to use power and authority. See, each one is a specific kind of fortification for your heart. But it's not just a fortress. This surah gives us something else, something just as crucial when you're facing deception. And that tool is light. It's a way to see clearly, even in the darkest of times. Now, when we say light, we're not just talking about a nice feel-good idea. This is a really powerful metaphor. It stands for clarity, for insight, for the ability to see things as they really are, especially when something or someone is trying to mislead you. And this right here, this is so important because the Dajjal's main weapon is supposed to be total illusion, right? He'll present something that looks like paradise, but it's actually hellfire. The light from this surah is what gives you the spiritual vision to see right through that. It lets you tell the difference between a false paradise and a true one. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that this isn't just about preparing for some far-off, end-of-the-world event. Nope, this is a practical here-and-now tool for all of us. It's about building a resilient heart and a sharp mind that can spot the truth from the lies in everything we face, every single day. And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? We've talked about how this chapter is both a fortress and a light. So the real question for all of us is, how do we start building that fortress in our own hearts? How do we find that light for ourselves?